AEW time once again here on the channel. I am so happy to finally welcome back Tomas after a busy couple of weeks on both of our ends. We've both been in shows lately. How did your opening go, by the way?
It went very well, thank you very much. Live theater is back, and that means our hectic schedules are back. And
yep,
you know, it sucks, and you know what this feeling is when you're in a show and you know that a big wrestling pay-per-view is going down. So you kind of have to put it in the back of your mind and be like, oh, just focus on this, and then we can. But that is a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about right now, and that is all elite wrestling full gear, emanating live from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yes, sir.
Let's get the negative stuff out of the way right now. Fuck BR Live.
Yes.
So
fuck you, Bleacher
BR
Report.
Live has been Bleacher Report Live has been the exclusive platform to order AEW pay-per-views on since they started streaming pay-per-views back in like 2018, 2019. And I have never really had an issue with them, but I kind of noticed that they're exclusively the only platform, except for Double or Nothing, which I was able to order on Fight TV. Okay, let me paint the picture for you. Both me and Zack were not able to watch this pay-per-view live. Yes. So us being spoiled by the WWE network, more on that later, we thought we would order the pay-per-view, come back to the pay-per-view when we're done with our show, and we'd be able to lickety-split, turn the show on, and finish it there.
Yeah.
I get home, and I turn on my Bleacher Report, which, first of all, the mobile app has been crashing for months.
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't able, I had to go through like some sketchy ways to order this pay-per-view. And so I'm like stressing out about that. I get home after my show, I turn on the pay-per-view, and it says the replay will be available soon. And I'm just like, the hell is this, 2008?
That's exactly...
Who the hell is waiting for replays or pay-per-views anymore?
That is exactly what happened to me when I got home from my show. My call time, so give or take, it's about 10 minutes for me to drive to my venue where I do my my play that I'm in right now. But
15, 20 minutes for me.
Yeah, so basically I had time to watch the opening contest, which we'll get to, and then I had to, make a beeline towards my show after that. But when I got home, same exact thing happened to me. It was replay available soon, and I was texting Tomas. I was like, did you have the same issue? Because BR Live is being really, really weird. And lo and behold,
right, we did. And
yeah.
And we're going to get corrected a ton, so let us get this out of the way now. This is the first time both of us have missed a live AEW pay-per-view. I remember the first All In I watched as a replay. I watched Double or Nothing as a replay. Ever since then, I have been lucky enough to be home for all of these pay-per-views. The first couple I was able to, of course, during the pandemic, I was home all the time. So all of the daily place pay-per-views, I was home and live for, being able to pause and rewind at my will. This is the first time I wasn't home for any of it. And here's the thing, we're gonna kind of we're gonna squabble, not squabble, but like we're gonna banter for a bit before we start this review.
Yeah,
I can't do what you did. If I'm watching a live pay-per-view, you're gonna have to like scrape me out of my seat to get me to go anywhere. So if I'm gonna miss it, if I can't stay for the entire thing, then I might as well just not watch it at all. So I did the same thing, and then I woke up like at 8 o'clock in the morning just to see if the replay was on.
That's what I did.
2 hours later, I had to go onto Fight TV. Okay, Fight TV was no longer providing the pay-per-view live.
No.
I go on to Fight TV and find out they're providing the replay. So I got the replay on there. Fight TV 1, BR 0. AEW, either get your shit together or get back with Fight TV, because Fight TV is on my good list right now.
Yeah.
And say what you want about WWE and NBC and Peacock and Vince McMahon, but at least this Sunday, when I miss Survivor Series live, the minute I get home, I can turn on Peacock and Survivor Series will be ready for me to go the minute I sit down.
Yep, there you go. Exactly. WWE is on my shit list right now because they released a whole other bevy of names, which is a topic that I'm sure will come up during Survivor Series when we inevitably discuss that. But I really freaking enjoyed Full Gear. Like, putting aside like the problems watching it, I thought this was, I would say, the second best show of the year for AEW, just behind All Out, which, I mean, it's damn close. But like from top to bottom, I would say aside from one match, which we'll get to as the prime weakness of the card, this was an excellent, excellent show from AEW once again, which should be expected.
This was an excellent show. Right off the bat, I've noticed that AEW does a very good job of making their pay-per-views feel special because they only have 4 a year. The set was really cool. I feel like they're really expanding on the set.
So cool.
Nice, like glass ramp. It looked so smooth. Like I wanted to go out there and just like feel it just to see how smooth that surface was.
They had the same gimmick that they had for Grand Slam when it came to like the LED ramp. It was very, very similar. But then they had like, the dual tunnels and they had the gears all over the place because Full Gear and you got to put the gimmick in there. But, yeah, really, really cool set design. I should also note that this pay-per-view took place 16 years to the date of the death of the one and only Eddie Guerrero. And it's actually in the city where where Eddie Guerrero actually passed away. And it's in the same facility where the tribute shows were held. Yeah, the same facility where the tribute shows were held. So, in case you're wondering,
AEW did that on purpose.
Oh, I don't know. I think it was originally set to be in St. Louis, but then they couldn't get the venue, and then they had to switch over to Minneapolis, and I think it was pure coincidence. So
that's spooky. I think that's way too spooky, man.
I think so. That's why, in case you're wondering why there were so many Eddie Guerrero tributes on the show, which is it's a welcome addition to any show, I think, because Eddie Guerrero was awesome. But that's why.
Notice that. Call me a bad wrestling fan, but I didn't even realize that because I feel like Eddie gets tributed so much between WWE and AEW that I just thought it was another night of, Sasha Banks does the shimmy every time she goes up to the top rope for the frog splash.
Rey
Seth
Mysterio
Rollins has done it. Yeah, everybody does Three Amigos, and they always reference Eddie. So I just thought it was just, nothing out of the ordinary. But the fact that you bring that up now, that's weird. That
very
is so
spooky.
Weird.
Very spooky. I mean, especially, okay, so you get into this buy-in, which I also happened to catch this tag team match before I went to the venue for my show. But it was a women's tag team match with Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida teaming up against Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero, Eddie's widow, in the corner of the heels. And Vicky got a huge reaction and a huge pop when she came out too, which is excellent to see. But this was This was honestly a more standard buy-in match than you would expect. It was a nice little way to whet the appetite, I suppose. I don't even remember who got the pinfall, honestly. I think it was actually Shida rolling up Nyla Rose in an inside cradle. And
aren't you, let's get into the real topic. Aren't you so excited that Shida and Rose are fighting in the tournament for the TBS title?
How many times do I have to watch those two ladies wrestle?
And Shida's going to go over.
Oh, yeah. No, she has to. She absolutely has to. God, I'm just so sick of those two wrestling each other.
Since there's not a lot to talk about with this match, and since I didn't get it, any front runners for who you want to win the TBS title?
Not Thunder Rosa. I know she's a heavy favorite right now just because I want her to be the person who eventually dethrones Dr. Baker. Spoiler alert for later on. But in that sense, I think just off the top of my head, I'd like to see Ruby Soho take it. That's just my instinct.
Same.
So
she's my front runner. My other personal favorite, which made me very upset, was wow, I'm blanking on her name.
Jade Cargill. Anna Jay. Okay.
She got eliminated in the first round, and I'm just like, what the hell? AEW? She's a fan favorite.
Anna Jay's too good.
She is, and that was another. But now I'm full Soho.
It's got to be Ruby.
Yeah, all things considered, I think she's a huge signee, and I think considering the debut that she made, I don't want AEW to just let her sit around.
Yeah.
If you're going to expand your women's division and have a mid-card women's title, I cannot think of anyone better than Ruby Soho. Other than Shida. I don't know if they're on opposite sides of the bracket, but I would like to see the finals be Shida and Soho. I think that would be amazing.
Shida and Soho would be good, but I think it would be a better story if it was Soho against someone like a Jade Cargill, someone who she could dethrone, maybe even Nyla Rose for that matter. Nyla Rose could beat Hikaru Shida in that tournament match that we were just talking about. But I mean, pretty basic tag team match. It was just a preview for this tournament that was going on, but they need to get into the actual show. And they start off with a huge banger after JR says the typical "it's Saturday night, you know what that means," is speaking of tributes. We get Darby Allin going one-on-one with Maxwell Jacob Friedman in a never-before-seen match. MJF, you don't agree with him on a lot of things, but he did cut a promo on, I believe it was a Dynamite, where he named the 4 pillars of AEW, being himself, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and there was one other name. I'm just blanking on it now.
Believe it or not,
4 pillars.
There's a little controversy surrounding this match. The original story going into this match is that MJF was trying to get. We talked about this at the Grand Slam review.
It was either that or the Dynamite anniversary.
It was the Dynamite anniversary show. We were talking about it. That MJF brought up the fact that Darby Allin's uncle died in a car crash because he was drunk. Apparently, MJF, it's 2 things. MJF received a harsh amount of criticism from his peers about using that to get heat in his promos. Jericho went out of his way to say, like, MJF is all about the heat, but there's a certain line you don't cross, and he feels like MJF crossed that line. Also, as we'll get into a little later in the review, prayers out to Jon Moxley. He did the bravest thing anybody can do. He is currently in rehab for an alcohol addiction. Moxley, we are behind you. The whole AEW nation is behind you. You're going to beat this. Come back soon. We can't wait. And due to that, I think it was a little insensitive to bring an alcoholic storyline into the fray. But I think AEW recovered beautifully, and they changed the story to be MJF telling Darby Allin, "You're not a professional wrestler. You're a glorified stuntman." I'm sure Mick Foley said that term a few times. So this match was now built around, can Darby Allin beat MJF in a straight-up wrestling match? No weapons, no gimmicks, no coffins, no thumbtacks, none of that. And MJF continuously hammering the fact, Darby Allin, I could beat you with a headlock takedown.
Yes, and he actually did go over to the Dapper Yapper, and he demanded that he introduce him in the method of, "Ladies and gentlemen, the man who can beat Darby Allin with a headlock takeover, Maxwell Jacob Friedman." And I'm like, what a freaking bastard he is, you know, and he was milking it the whole way through. These guys are both in their mid to late 20s, by the way, which is insane because that is Tomas and I's age range. Spoiler alert. But this was an outstanding opening contest. The crowd was into it from the opening bell all the way to the very end. Darby Allin is this poor guy. I keep saying this. I've said it before on many pods. I'm going to say it again. I am so scared that this poor lad is going to kill himself one of these days. Just because.
Also, props to AEW for holding this match off. What you said in the beginning, this is a first time ever. And you're right. They have never wrestled in AEW before. And props to AEW for not, blowing their load on the episode of Dynamite. They held this match off into a pay-per-view.
Yes.
And this isn't going to be the last time these two meet up, but that's pretty damn impressive.
No, I think
AEW doesn't do rematches a lot, and I respect them for that.
Yeah, I think this could be a similar feud to like a Stone Cold and Triple H from like the early 2000s. So, like, I don't know if it would ever reach that level of hatred for one another. Like, I'm sure eventually later on in their careers, once they actually get into their primes, it'll probably get even more intense. But this match, speaking of intense, Darby Allin was throwing himself all over the ring. That suicide dive he hit on MJF was super, super snug.
I will go as far as saying that Darby Allin has the best tope suicida in the business right now.
Really?
He launches himself. He launches himself like a freaking torpedo at his opponents.
Better than this guy? Better than this guy? I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to say that right now.
Hot takes.
Tope suicida.
Hot takes, my friend, already, for sure. But
this was a regular-ass wrestling match, and Darby Allin is still finding ways to kill himself. Because at one point, not only does MJF attempt a top rope tombstone piledriver, which he fails, he connects a tombstone piledriver on the apron, dropping Allen's head right on the steel beams. Holy shit.
Like, how is his neck not broken? And that was like, that was just round 2. Round 1 was Darby Allin going for a coffin drop onto the apron, and then he fucking missed it. and lands flat backed on the apron. And I'm like,
Oof.
fuck, dude. Like, come on now. Time and place. But I mean, the crowd was popping for it. They were chanting, holy shit. And like, you know, I was chanting, holy shit. I legit stood up out of my chair and screamed at the top of my lungs, like, why the fuck are you doing that? But
that's a nasty ass bump right there.
yes, but MJF, to your point, he hit that tombstone and he had hurt his knee earlier on in the match, and he was crying like a little bitch when he was grabbing onto his knee. Such great selling from that guy. But then they get back into the ring and they do the inside cradle sequence where Darby gets a small package and they're rolling around trying to get the upper hand. Props to the referee, by the way, for keeping up with the quick pace and always keeping a consistent count going on. Like,
it was excellent.
Yeah, very, very fun for sure.
And then surprisingly enough, Darby Allin does connect with the coffin drop on the outside. I thought he would miss that one for sure. Oh my
god, dude! Yeah, that was after MJF rolled out of the ring like on a regular old coffin drop into the ring. So Darby was like, "Fuck it," and then he falls onto him, coffin drop to the outside, and like again,
you know, I'm scared if you're going to compare Allin to Mick Foley, which I think is an excellent comparison, by the way. If you're going to compare those two, I really hope that Darby Allin decides, what did Foley do? Oh, he one time fell flat on his back onto concrete. I really hope Allin doesn't do that one day.
No.
I'm scared that he might try to replicate that.
Yeah, I mean, I would liken Darby more to Jeff Hardy, personally. Like, if he were...
Oh, yeah, they're both really good comparisons, but since MJF used the glorified stuntman, which has always been used on Mick Foley for years.
Yeah. Oh,
totally. If you're going to make the comparisons, both Foley and Allin, they're fearless.
You will see Darby Allin jump off of a steel cage at some point in his career. That's for darn sure. And he's like chomping at the bit to do that. But basically it gets to the point where, you know, they go through the cradle sequence and then they cut to the ramp where Wardlow and Shawn Spears try to run out to the ring and run interference. But Darby Allin's uncle, Sting, comes out and intervenes, making sure that, you know, the heels don't get involved. And he is his uncle. He's not actually his cool dad. But
fair enough.
In that case, you know, MJF is kind of distracted by all this kerfuffle going on outside. Darby
also, was Kevin Dunn directing the show? Because the cameras totally missed Sting coming out. They cut over and I see Spears, and then all of a sudden Sting's there. I was like, is Kevin Dunn directing this fucking show or something?
I mean, it's not nearly as egregious as missing Edge's first spear in like 9 years after retirement, but you know, still, I see what you're saying. But there was a point, right before the ending of the match where MJF gets this skateboard, Darby Allin's signature skateboard, and rolls it over to Darby, and he's like, hit me right here. Like, he's trying to play the mind games. He wants to get Darby disqualified. And Darby thinks better of it, gives it to the official. That gives MJF time to freaking clock him with the Dynamite Diamond ring, which he is still under ownership of. I feel like he beat Orange Cassidy a long time ago for that Dynamite Diamond ring.
Remember, he won 2 years
had it. Yeah, he's always had that diamond ring. So it's always been his gimmick. Clocks Darby Allin with it. And then to rub insult into injury, he takes Darby Allin into a headlock takeover and he fucking pins him there. Glorious. 4 1/4-star match. I can't believe I'm saying it.
Absolutely. I agree. Was just going to say, I know, I was thinking 4-star, but the more I was thinking about it, I'm like, that was an excellent opener. The disrespect at the end was amazing. And this is definitely one of those matches because, you know, and I'm going to admit, this is going to be a little side tangent. I really hate saying, unlike WWE, I hate saying that phrase, but unfortunately it's true. I feel like in WWE, there's a lot of matches, pay-per-view matches that I see where they'll do a finish like this and I'll go, oh, there's going to be another match. But no, with this finish, I was like, holy shit, there's going to be another match.
I want to see another match. Again. Yeah, no, and I'm sure we'll get it plenty more times. Like I said, these two guys are both in their mid to late 20s, so these guys aren't even in their primes yet, ladies and gentlemen. And if they're putting together over 4-star match in the opener of a big pay-per-view like this, the sky's the limit for these two. And honestly, thinking about it, I think Darby Allin should take the Dynamite Diamond ring from MJF, just because I think the contrast there, Darby Allin carrying that diamond ring around for a little while, I think it'd be fun. I don't know. People could call me crazy for that. But yeah, for sure. And Darby Allin's a king of the mind games, but definitely very fun opener.
Excellent opener. Props to AEW for kind of turning the curve right there when things were starting to get a little negative with that storytelling. And props to MJF for, taking the criticism and saying like, okay, fine, I won't get heat that way. There's a million other ways I can get heat.
MJF feels like an actor that the director would love working with because MJF knows how to make an adjustment on the fly like that, which is excellent. Yeah. And his selling in this match, it cannot be overstated how great it was because I legit thought he had torn his meniscus in his leg and his ACL and whatever have you in that kneecap there. But good Lord, yeah, such a great match. I cannot wait to see more of these two. Cannot wait.
Up next is for the AEW World Tag Team titles, the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Cielo Medo, and Rey Fenix.
Oh, Tomas's boy.
The team of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, the reigning AAA Tag Team Champions.
Yep.
A month ago, FTR was able to defeat the Lucha Brothers for the AAA Tag Team titles when they disguised themselves as Mexican luchadors. A kind of a tribute to when Edge and Christian did that back in the day, when they were Los Conquistadores, and they disguised themselves as that tag team so they could win the WWF tag team titles. I thought that was FTR are really close to Edge in real life, so I thought that was a really cool,
nice little nod for sure. But Tomas, doesn't this little layout feel eerily similar to an all-out title match that we just talked about not too long ago? The challengers winning other promotions' titles of the defending champions here and going into it thinking like, oh, they could totally beat them again. But then I'm like, oh, it's not going to happen because the Lucha Brothers just won these titles.
Yeah, and I thought that was an excellent way to not only give FTR the rub by giving them other tag team titles and also not sending them into this match just like, with that victory over the Lucha Bros, it did make you think like, oh, FTR have beaten these guys before. It's a little more unpredictable with these titles. Unlike another match that I'll get into later, I thought that was a nice little layer. And Christian Cage and Kenny Omega, I liked it when they did it there too. It was a good way to get the Impact World title off of Kenny Omega. And it was a good way for Christian Cage to give the Impact World title back to Impact Wrestling without their, it was a smooth transition basically.
Saying something nice about Christian Cage finally, I see. Okay. There we go.
Hey, maybe I'll take that back when we get to his match. Anywho, the first chunk of this match was excellent. This was textbook tag team wrestling. You know how much I love tag team wrestling. You know how much I love established tag teams. And this was just straight up established tag team chaos. This was excellent. I swear the Lucha Bros are coming up with new things every single day.
Like my favorite spot that they did. Penta's cannonball onto both members of FTR. One of them is in the tree of woe. I was going to say
the assisted cannonball from Fenix to Penta into FTR. That was an excellent spot. That was one of my favorite spots in the match right there.
So good. So good. But the spots were just all over the place. Wheeler and Harwood were getting heat all over the arena, all the way to the point where Harwood says, "Shut up, asshole," to a fan at ringside. Awesome.
It was great. That was
awesome. Awesome. But yeah.
Hey, and, that's the thing. FTR could stand for Forever the Revival, or it could stand for Fuck the Revival, and that's what it stood for tonight.
Yes. So, but leading to one of many Eddie Guerrero tributes we would get on this show, Dax Harwood is getting heat by hitting 2 out of 3 amigos on Penta, but then Penta turns it around and does the Eddie shuffle correctly, hits 3 amigos, and then Rey Fenix comes off with a glorious-looking frog splash, one of the best frog splashes in the business right now, if I may say so myself. But this was the finish. I would say like the first 3 quarters of this match was excellent tag team wrestling, but then the finish got a little bit contrived, I thought.
It did. So, okay, Harwood was legal. Mm-hmm. And then Wheeler pulled him out, and Wheeler puts on the luchador mask. And I'm thinking, why? He gets in the ring, the ref's telling him to take it off. Why?
He's not going to get DQ'd.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, oh, is this just a way for Wheeler to be the legal man when he's not? I mean, they're trying to do twin magic and they're not twins. Hate
Yeah.
on the Bella twins all you want, but at least they executed twin magic perfectly.
At least they're identical. Look at Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. They do not look identical at all. One of them is bald.
I feel like this was a low-key a tribute to Eddie Guerrero with lying, cheating, and stealing, but they didn't do a good job of it at all.
No.
Because Penta immediately caught him, and then here comes the assisted package pile driver, and I swear, was the crowd asleep for a few seconds? Because there was dead silence until they got the pin.
Yeah, dead silence up until Penta pinned Cash Wheeler, who was not legal, but it was Cash under the mask. But, I mean, I would give this 3.5, maybe 3 3/4 if I'm being nice. This was definitely...
I'm giving it 3.5, and that's for the excellent tag team wrestling throughout this. This was nowhere near as good as the Bucks versus Lucha Brothers that we got it all out.
Not even close.
I'm not going to call it a friend. I'm not going to call it a friend by name at all. But I had a friend tell me he liked this match more than that, and I'm just like, you want to crack, my friend? I'm sorry. That was my match of the year right there.
Oh, man. It's like, it's like I'm swallowing a dagger whole hearing that right now. My goodness. Me and this friend have a shot. Yeah, but my God. But Lucha Brothers retain, and I don't think they're losing these belts anytime soon. I don't know who's going to beat them, honestly. Like, really thinking about the tag team division right now?
Is it just me, or has FTR's booking been very, very underwhelming since they came to AEW?
I wouldn't say underwhelming. I feel like they started rolling off of a cliff around the time when they won after they won the tag titles. Yeah, I would say up until they won them, it was really, really great. But then they won those belts from Omega and the Hangman, and then their booking just kind of fell off of a cliff. Their match with the Bucks at last year's Full Gear was fantastic. It was one of my favorite tag matches last year. But after that, they just kind of took a trip to the sidelines. I mean, they're on the Pinnacle. Yeah, I mean,
the Pinnacle was a cool distraction. It kept them busy, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that FTR is probably the only transitional champions in AEW history. Every single tag team, every single woman, and every single man that have held a title in AEW, their title reign felt meaningful, but FTR just felt like, oh, we need to get the titles off Omega and Page, and now we need to get them to the Bucks without there being dissension within the Elite.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Unfortunate. Yeah, but I mean, definitely a great match, but the great hits just keep on coming. Up next is a match I'm super excited for. It's Miro going one-on-one with Bryan Danielson in the finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. Bryan Danielson is the best wrestler on the planet. Once again, I'm so happy to report that, ladies and gentlemen, because he, and I feel like, I don't want to say he was shackled by WWE and all that stuff,
but
yeah.
Bryan Danielson, yes, is the best technical wrestler in the world.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles is the greatest overall performer in the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
That was on my mind a lot today.
Because that's fair.
Keep saying, I was thinking about Danielson, I'm like, damn, he's the best wrestler on the planet. But then there's Styles. You know what? Overall performer, Styles. Overall technical wrestler, Danielson.
But look at what they're doing with AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw right now. Absolutely nothing, which is blasphemous. And then you have Danielson coming on, and then you have his excellent matches with Nick Jackson. I have till 5 referee. He's having excellent matches with Bobby Fish and all that. And now he has a classic with Miro, which is a match Vince McMahon never gave us.
No, that is crazy. We never got Danielson, or we never got Daniel Bryan and Rusev in the WWE.
That's right.
But here we are with Danielson and Miro. Miro was a last-minute replacement for Moxley, as we were talking about, who had to withdraw from the tournament. Miro destroyed Orange Cassidy, and here he is in this match. Another side tangent I want to go on about Danielson is that for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, I have been saying there is not a man on this planet that could out-wrestle Kurt Angle. Bryan Danielson finally takes that place.
Yep. There it is.
And it's a shame that we will never get a 2007 Kurt Angle versus a 2021 Bryan Danielson. Oh. It's a damn shame.
man, you're making me want that match so badly. But yeah. But say la vie. It's, it just wasn't meant to be. Kurt Angle's retired already. But Miro,
also,
Miro looks great.
That I love
match.
me some big man, little man action. And that's what this match was. This was big man, little man action.
So fucking physical. These guys were, I feel like they went into the back and they were given like 15, 20 minutes by Tony Khan. And then they looked at each other and they were like, oh, we can kick each other as hard as we fucking can within those 15 minutes. And that's exactly what they did. Miro's chest was beat red. He ended up getting a huge bruise on his like left temple right here. Probably from an errant kick from Bryan Danielson. So he was literally getting
Danielson and Miro went out there and beat the living shit out of each other for 20 minutes.
Yes. Yep. 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
It was delightful. I loved watching every minute of it. And honestly,
my favorite part of this match. Go on.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say my favorite part of this match is that we got to see a technical wrestling side of Miro that we have never seen before.
Oh, yeah. And
Danielson,
Bryan, who better than Danielson to bring that out of him, right?
Danielson brought Miro to his technical level in a good way. I don't want to say Danielson took Miro to school. I just feel like he brought a side out of Miro that we've never seen before. Miro is being booked so perfectly right now. I was a little peeved when he lost the TV title. But when Miro cut that promo, and he put it into better words than I ever could. I am God's favorite champion. And on that night I lost the title, God abandoned me that night. Yeah. That is perfect.
It's so
that was amazing.
So then what happened when Danielson actually, beat him by TKO in this? Did God abandon him in this moment?
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I mean, just some beautiful submission work here. Danielson was locking in some knee bars all over the place. I was so ready to see Danielson try and lock in cattle mutilation on Miro, but I mean, I don't know if it was a case of Miro was just too big or too wide for Danielson to do that move on, but I mean, I would have been super ultra impressed if Danielson managed to pull that off. But
yeah, and in between Danielson's technical wrestling, Miro is throwing Danielson around like a sack of potatoes. At one point, he hits a belly to belly in the corner. That was nasty.
Oh man, and how Danielson did not break his neck on those. But it's Miro is power bombing Bryan Danielson as hard as he freaking can. He's yelling up to his god. Then he finally calls for the game over. And he actually gets Danielson in the game over. And Danielson with the most beautiful counter I've ever seen out of that submission, where he pulls like a WrestleMania 8 almost, and he rolls up Miro into a pinning predicament. So flawless. Absolutely flawless. Again, best technical wrestler on the planet. He can escape the game over that way. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, this is also the third match in a row, mind you, to earn the "This is awesome" chant on the night, which I feel like was a little bit overused. But I mean, they were right in this facet. Miro versus Bryan Danielson is an awesome match with each other. But basically, Danielson locks in what used to be known as the yes lock. Miro is like clawing for the ropes, and Tony Schiavone makes a brilliant point of how Miro doesn't know how far away he is from those ropes, and like he has to claw his way out. It's like literally clawing his way out of a big old ditch. Brilliant.
Yeah. And now here comes probably one of the most creative finishes I've seen in a very long time. Danielson looks like he is up on the top rope trying to perform something on Miro. He immediately goes for a tornado DDT. He goes to lock on a guillotine lock, and the referee immediately rings the bell. Why? Because Miro is knocked out and he cannot respond. Yes, for the first time ever that I have seen, a professional wrestling match has ended by technical knockout. Yep. Danielson defeats Miro by TKO.
This felt like a fight, man. 4.25 stars. I liked this match more than Darby Allin versus MJF. I think it's all going to come down to personal preference, but this was a match I was waiting to see for years and years and years, and these two guys delivered in spades. It was so much fun to watch.
I'll give this match 4 stars. This was a match I never knew I wanted. I love the big man, little man action. I want to see more of this shit. Miro brought out a technical side of him that I've never seen before. Danielson was bumping like crazy, which I respected him for. My only nitpick with this match, I think the wrong man won. I think this was Miro's chance to win.
Even
and
though
we get to the end of this pay-per-view, I think this was Miro's time.
Even though I'm wearing the shirt, yeah, Miro should have won this, especially considering who would have won the main event later tonight. And honestly, Danielson winning had me concerned about the outcome of said main event, which again, we'll get to it when we get to it. But
it's a shame because I don't want to say Miro's falling off because I still think they're handling him beautifully. I don't know what they're going to do with him next.
Well, you also got to remember that Miro replaced the guy who was originally booked in the tournament, but then he left to go to rehab and all that. So Miro wasn't in the tournament the whole time, but Danielson was.
We've already seen Miro dick around in a tag team. And now he is on the run of his career. He is in the best shape of his career. The TNT title, that's said and done with. Despite me thinking he still should be the TNT champion. More on that later.
But we'll get to that. Get to that.
I don't know what you do with Miro now. Is there someone you could bring into him for if they can find someone for him to feud with, by all means. I mean, I don't know if Kip Sabian's ready to come back. Miro still needs to stomp him into the mat.
I certainly don't think this is the end of Miro in the world title scene. I definitely think he will ascend to that level in a certain monster way, similar to one of my favorite monster runs of all time in Umaga, all the way up in 2006. So honestly, I think it'll end differently. I think Miro will come out of this with the world title eventually, build him up to be the unstoppable, unbeatable monster, and then have a big baby face ascend to the top and topple him when the time comes.
Oh, yeah.
But
more on that later. But yeah, this Miro is one of two people on this card tonight that I said, you got to put the world title on this guy someday. Oh, more on that later.
On that later. Yeah, actually, perfect segue into the next match, Tomas, which is what?
Segue into a match that I did not think was going to go down the way it did. It's a Falls Count Anywhere match. Christian Cage is teaming up with the
Jurassic Express.
I'm sorry, Jurassic Express.
The Lucha Brothers.
I got distracted.
The Lucha Brothers on double duty.
Christian Cage teaming with the Jurassic Express, which is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. No Marco Stunt tonight, thank God. Taking on the Super Clique, which is Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole, baby.
His pay-per-view
with Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa.
In the ring at least.
With Cutler and Nakazawa in their corners. This is a match that
fucking insane.
Going into it, I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, why not?
This is a match that I was not really all that hyped for, just because I have seen these exact six go to war with each other before, namely on Grand Slam's Rampage. But
okay, am I wrong, or have Jungle Boy and Adam Cole faced off already?
I believe they have. I want to say they have.
Because I kind of wanted to see them go one-on-one on this show.
Yeah, but then you leave Christian and the Young Bucks both off of the pay-per-view. That kind of
Christian Cage can sit off a fucking pay-per-view.
What about the Bucks?
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll give it the. Yep. Speaking of the Bucks, they find.
Oh my God!
To piss me off.
Purple mustaches. What the fuck?
They find new ways to piss me off. Every pay-per-view.
They make their entrance, and freaking Tony Schiavone puts it best. He's like, "Oh, dipshit alert!"
Love it.
So awesome. And Nick Jackson coming out with the full-on handlebar, and it's all dyed purple.
And I love the Bucks because they know it makes everybody mad. They know it within the it's like they get together every pay-per-view. It's like, what can we wear that's just gonna piss everybody off?
Yeah. And then, to rub salt into the wound, they also wear all matching Bret Hart colors. Don't tell me that was not a Bret Hart tribute that they had there. Adam Cole comes out, and he's wearing the pink and black, and that attire is so clean on Adam Cole, by the way. And I would argue, this may be a hot take, I think Adam Cole was the MVP of this match, even in defeat. He looked awesome. Adam Cole bladed in this match, which nobody else had the balls to do. Not that they didn't have balls to do it, but Adam Cole was the only one who actually went through with it. And I got to give him massive props.
There was one other person in this match that probably had bigger balls than Adam Cole. More on that in a minute. Opening up this match, this is absolute chaos. Everybody's running all over the place.
Well,
this match was booked better than a certain other match we will get into a little later.
Because there's no tags. There's no tags. Thank God.
The Bucks go for this really cool spot where they're trying to kind of double team Jungle Boy onto an open steel chair. Jungle Boy is able to counter it and kind of double snap mare them off. And then Jungle Boy sits in the chair, and I cannot believe he references Chris Jericho winning Raw musical chairs in 2004 because he sits on that chair and he crosses his legs exactly the same way Jericho did when he won that contest.
I'm sure Jericho was smiling somewhere in the backstage area seeing that. But this was just, I mean, it was absolute chaos from start to finish. Christian and the Jurassics are dressed up for a fight, by the way. They're not in their normal, ring attire. They're in street clothes doing this. But the match eventually spills to the outside, and they were building up the concerto quite a bit. That one-man concerto that Christian and his kayfabe brother Edge made so famous in the other place.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's chairs and trash cans and tables all over the place in this match.
Yes. And honestly, can I also just say that not just in terms of this match, but this whole pay-per-view had the cleanest table breaks I've ever seen in my life as a fan. And there were two of them straight in a row in this match. Jungle Boy Hurricane Rana's Adam Cole off the apron through a big table on the outside. And then Matt Jackson hits a big Macho Man-like elbow drop on Luchasaurus through another table. Both extremely clean breaks right there, which is just awesome. Very awesome.
This is a big compliment that I'm going to give to AEW and WWE. I'm going to lump WWE in there. They have proven these past 10 years, or AEW in the past 3 years, that even though there was blood in this match, it wasn't a gory, disgusting bloodbath. You can have really good, no disqualification, no holds barred, streak fight matches with not a lot of blood. It doesn't need to be a bloodbath.
Right.
It's not about the blood. It's about the creativity of the spots. And I think this match was absolutely glorious, except for one spot. Let's get into this now. I'm going to call AEW out on this. I'm going to call the Young Bucks out on this. Y'all are overusing the thumbtack in the mouth spot. It was revolutionary when they did it to Candice LeRae. When they brought it back against the Lucha Bros, it was really cool. I don't need to see this spot on every single pay-per-view because number one, you're killing how special it is. Number two, it's disgusting. I felt bad for Jungle Boy. How many wrestlers on that roster are willingly going to put thumbtacks in their mouth?
I stand corrected. Jungle Boy's got a big set of cojones for being able to be on the receiving end of that. And he
Candice
also
LeRae has big balls. Okay, she took that like a champ. The Lucha Bros too. I don't want AEW to have a line full of wrestlers saying like, "You're gonna get the thumbtacks in this one." It's like, because what if a wrestler says, "I don't want to do that spot"? That takes a lot.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they did it in this match again. And I will admit, it was cool when they put the thumbtacks in Jungle Boy's mouth, and poor Jungle Boy has to hold these things in his mouth.
And
for
then
a good,
they do the kiss
seconds.
of death. They do the kiss of death. They super kick Jungle Boy, and he has the tacks in his mouth. And I'm pretty sure it was Shivani who was just disgusted by it. The crowd starts chanting, "You sick fucks" at them. And like, they're starting to jaw jack with the crowd. They're like, they don't give a crap. They don't give a crap.
It's a cool spot. I just don't want to see it all the time. And I feel bad for the wrestlers that got to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe once in a while, somebody will step up and say, "Yeah, sure, I'll do the thumbtacks in the mouth spot." But I don't know, how willing was Jungle Boy willing to do this without, there being some of, I guess I'll do it.
I guess, I mean, why not? So, but eventually the match does spill all the way outside. It spills over to the, awesome staging area. Adam Cole hits a Panama Sunrise on Jungle Boy on the stage, as if the poor guy was not taking enough punishment already with the thumbtacks, but takes a Panama Sunrise on the stage, and Christian saves the match right there. That's what I really respected about this. Jungle Boy did not kick out. It had to take Christian saving the match for it to continue, which is excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Because in any other case, Jungle Boy would be done there. The Panama Sunrise, on a freaking, whatever material that stage was made out of, like the fiberglass, like the LED boards, whatever it was, he would have been done. There's no question. Yeah. He would have been
props
finished.
Oh yeah.
So,
Props to Nakazawa and Cutler. They got involved in this match too, and they were taking some bumps as well, including I looked down and I looked up and I missed it. But correct me if I'm wrong. Did fucking Luchasaurus do a running shooting star press off the stage?
No, not that.
Because I heard Shabani yell,
"Oh,
shooting star press."
He did. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm seeing it right here in the play-by-play. Yep. I didn't remember that. But glad you caught that. Luchasaurus.
I looked down for a second. I hear Shabani scream, shooting star press off the stage. I see Luchasaurus down there. I'm like, that's fucking incredible.
Yes. Yeah. Luchasaurus is a big, agile man for sure. But that was after he gave Adam Cole a choke slam onto a big group of the heels out here off of the stage. So.
Oh, yeah. That's the props I wanted to give to Nakazawa and Cutler because they were out there bumping too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So Christian then sets up a concerto on the stage for Matt Jackson, but then he gives the honors to Jungle Boy, who waits around for a second, hits Matt Jackson as hard as he fucking can with the chair on the concerto, and there's your 3 count. Jungle Boy gets the Duke. Such a fun little Wild West style brawl here. 4.5 stars in my book. So crazy, so wild, so fun, the whole 9 yards, whatever word you want to use to describe this. Excellent. And I know a lot of people are going to roast this match because Adam Cole did not win his pay-per-view in-ring debut. He did not take the pinfall. He didn't get pinned, and he didn't need to win this, honestly. Like, this was
also props to the Bucks. Second pay-per-view in a loss, they have lost. Second pay-per-view in a row, they've lost.
Yep.
Jungle Boy was my MVP in this match. Jungle Boy was made to look like a fucking star tonight, and he is the second person on this pay-per-view that I went, you got to put the world title on this guy one day. You got to do it.
One day, for sure. Yeah, it'll happen. I think it'll be his destiny. But speaking of destiny,
here we fucking go. Can you believe this match is filler?
I mean, beats me. It's Cody Rhodes teaming up with Pac, which, why? And they're going up against Malakai Black and Andrade El Idolo. Why? Why are those two teaming together?
Random tag team alert.
Yes! You think Tomas gets mad at random tag teams? Do you think he's the only one who can get mad at them? Me too.
So this team is weird because, first of all, it's like they went, oh, hey, look, it's Zelina Vega's old client and it's Zelina Vega's husband. Haha, let's make them team up. That's something WWE would do.
That was the NXT Championship match at TakeOver New Orleans. Can you believe that?
And now they're teaming up in the middle of a pay-per-view?
Against Cody fucking Rhodes, of all people, who refuses to turn heel.
First of all, okay, let's get into it. Let's fucking get into it now.
Yep. I knew you would.
Cody is treating Pac like his second banana. Fuck you, Cody. Pac could run circles around you. Pac is my favorite wrestler in AEW. Do not fucking do him dirty like that.
Yeah.
Do not do him dirty like that. Do not treat Pac like he's a second banana. Like he's out there, oh, look, the unlikely duo of Cody Rhodes and Pac.
Ridiculous, right? But,
okay,
like, how could you...
Why is this match happening? So Cody Rhodes beats Malakai Black, which he shouldn't have. And Cody comes out the next week, and he says, I hear you guys booing me. I hear you. I hear you 100% clear, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
That's what John Cena did in 2005, and look what happened to him.
But here's the thing. Cena and Rhodes are not the same.
No.
At all.
No.
Cody will never have the same work ethic of Cena. And the main difference between Cody and Cena is that Cena could take the heat. Cena always adapted to the heat. Cena always at least had half of the crowd on his side. This crowd is relentlessly telling Cody Rhodes, we do not like you. We don't like your stupid suits. We don't like your stupid, how obnoxious and pretentious you are. We don't like your stupid theme music. We don't like your stupid ring attire. We don't like anything about you. It's gotten stale. It's gotten old. You either need to change or you need to get out. That's what the fans are telling him.
Basically, but there was also a point where he was making his entrance, and I was like, how are these people booing him? Because he's given this really, he was giving this really excited fan at ringside his weight belt, and you could tell that this guy was really, really happy to have it. But
which is fine.
Other than that,
but
like
again, I don't think Cody Rhodes matches that same energy, that same integrity that like Cena has.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not trying to compare in any ways, but like we've seen Cena, congratulate children on them beating cancer. We've seen Cena, personally get his hats and wristbands to like children with special needs.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare, but I just see the way Cena handles himself, and it's not the same. It's like Cody Rhodes is trying to replicate it, and he's not doing a good job of it at all.
It's like a diet version of John Cena, if you ask me, with a smaller load and a smaller schedule. But honestly,
also,
this match.
Why are Malakai Black and Andrade teaming up? Because why not?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. Like, it was just a way to get them all on the card, I guess. But here's my thing. You want a hot take. So this match right here was held back by two people. Number one being Cody Rhodes. Number two being Andrade El Idolo. He has not impressed me at all since he debuted in AEW.
Nope.
His match at Road Rager, his match with Matt Sydal at Road Rager, Sydal was wrestling fucking circles around him. And I'm not saying that Andrade's become lazy. Of course not. But, like, he just has been very plain and unimpressive since he arrived on the scene in this company.
Yeah, it's so weird. And it's like, I feel like everything has just downgraded. And, say what you want about his WWE run. At least when I was tuning into Raw and SmackDown, he was tearing it up with Rey Mysterio. Yeah. He was tearing it up with Humberto. He was tearing it up with any luchador you throw him in the ring with.
He was tearing it up with Drew McIntyre in an empty arena. Come on now.
He was tearing it up with Apollo Crews. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, he really was. And then Apollo beat him for the U.S. title, and Andrade was pretty much never seen again from that point. But
it's just so weird. I like what? And how come Andrade was like, okay, I don't want to get into that, but you know what I mean. It's just, it's so underwhelming.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, I feel like the reason Cody and Andrade were out there is just so Glock Anderson could get his shot in on Jose the Assistant, which I'm sure you smiled at. I know you smiled at. I know. I know all of our wrestling friends smiled at Glock.
Arn Anderson is the scariest fucking man in me.
I know he is. He's been the scariest man in pro wrestling for almost like going on 35 years at this point.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like fucking.
If you see Arn Anderson when you're walking down the street, you turn the other way and you go back where you came from.
Arn Anderson does not fuck around, my friends.
He doesn't.
Like, he's only a year older than Sting is, and I obviously Arn isn't wrestling full time, but like
I pull my Glock and shoot him dead. Well,
hey, at least he doesn't have his Denny's menu anymore, and he has a Glock. So
he should have had the Denny's menu and his Glock in a paperback.
Don't give him any ideas here.
Why is Glock Anderson the most over person in this match?
I don't know. I really don't know. But honestly,
in this match, let's skip to the finish because I don't care about this match. It got really weird. So Cody Rhodes thinks it's a good idea to get the hot tag. He's getting booed.
The crowd does not
time.
give a shit about this Cody hot tag.
So I'm looking at this match and I'm going like, Cody is fucking mental if he thinks he can go through with this match like regularly. So I'm sitting here thinking, does Cody pull the trigger here? I was thinking, does Pac go for the tag? Because Cody was just chilling on the floor. Now I'm saying, like, does Cody walk out on Pac? I'd love to see Cody versus Pac. Pac is a face and Cody is a heel.
It'd be a decent match, yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. But you know what I'd rather see? You know what I'd rather see? Sorry to cut you off. Is the two other guys who I didn't even mention before, Pac versus Malakai Black. Imagine how great of a match that would be. We never got that in WWE. We never got that in NXT. We got a small taste of it here, and it was fucking glorious. I loved it.
We got it at the WWE UK tournament, and it was good. But so Cody gets the hot tag. He's booed the entire time. And then they do, again, Cody, look at what you're doing. You're doing WWE shit in this match. Then they do the miscommunication between partners. Pac goes for a moonsault, and he hits Cody. And I'm thinking, that's Cody's fault. He should not have been on the floor in the first place.
Yeah.
So he hits Cody with the moonsault. And I'm just thinking, is Cody going to pull the trigger here? And then Cody takes Malakai Black takes Cody out over the barricade. And then Pac hits Black Arrow, and Pac and Cody win.
Yeah, Pac pins Andrade. Like, nothing happens. But here's the thing. At least Pac got the pinfall, and at least Malakai Black was not the one who was pinned in this match. So at least I can give them bonus points for that. But Malakai Black should just be winning everything. He should be an unstoppable force. But
yeah, he should have never lost to Cody Rhodes. Also, then Cash Wheeler comes out, and he beats up Pac.
Weird.
Where was Dax Harwood?
Very weird.
And then nothing happens. That's it. Nothing happens.
2.5.
2 stars.
2.5.
No, I was gonna give it 2.5, but
I liked Pac and Andrade's, or not Andrade, Malakai's performance in this. I almost called him Alistair. Yeah. And I knew you were going to correct me once I called him Alistair. But, it was, again, Cody Rhodes is stubbornly not turning heel because, I've read interviews where he said he'd rather retire than turn heel.
Well, then retire.
Yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, okay. That's different than Tommaso Ciampa saying he'd rather retire than be called up from NXT.
I know. That's the first thing I thought when you told me that. I was like, okay, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
You wish you were Tommaso Ciampa. You also wish you were The Miz.
Okay, so next year, I'm calling it Cody Rhodes is going on Dancing with the Stars. Calling it.
Cody Rhodes wishes he was The Miz so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. At least my mom knows who The Miz is, so. Whoops. Did I say that? Did I say that out loud?
Ooh, okay.
But, all right.
Anywho,
let's talk about some good stuff.
Next up for the AEW Women's Championship, it's Ty Conti and her first ever Women's Championship match taking on Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D.
You have to
Britt
do that.
Baker she is brought to the ring by the lead guitarist of Fozzy playing her theme song, which was really cool.
Such a cool cover. Honestly, I would wish, I've seen a lot of really awesome guitar covers of wrestling themes out there. Shout out to all of you. You know who you are. But, honestly, there's a lot of cases where I honestly wish the theme song was the guitar cover. Imagine Roman Reigns' theme walking out to, a guitar anthem almost. That'd be so fucking dope. And Britt Baker comes out with the lead guitarist of Fozzy, and it was great. Ty Conti's face is emblazoned with the colors of her Brazilian flag, which I think is
also
amazing.
Unrelated, but also remember when Nita Strauss played Shinsuke Nakamura in the ring of WrestleMania?
I do remember that. Shit like
that is cool. Shit like that is really cool.
Once in a blue moon, yes, absolutely, for sure. But the crowd was not necessarily into this match, which I think is a darn shame because these two women went out there, and this was honestly Ty Conti's, I think it was a very solid outing for her, and I'm a huge believer in Ty Conti. I think she has thrived so well under Tony Khan's watch, and here she is getting a women's title match, but let's face it, the writing was on the wall. The Doc was not losing the title. There was no chance. No. But
this was a pretty standard match, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought the finish was pretty was a nice surprise because though I knew Britt Baker was gonna win this match, Ty Conti did not tap out to lockdown.
No,
Conti was also protected pretty well in the fact that Rebel and Jamie Hayter were there, constantly running interference. And in the best part of the match, Conti takes a fucking curb stomp on the steel steps.
Oh, and yeah,
could not have been fun.
She takes a regular curb stomp in the ring, and then she kicks out, much to Seth Rollins' chagrin. When he
Seth Rollins was probably frothing at the mouth watching that match.
Well, he was probably doing that while also hating football as much as he is watching the Chicago Bears. But in that case,
if the Bears are winning, he loves football. If the Bears are losing, he hates football.
Well, yeah, I'm clearly hating football a lot this year, but that's another topic for another time. But in that case, I didn't even notice, but a lot of Ty Conti's signature moves are puns based on her name. Like she has a spike DDT, and Excalibur called it the DD Ty, and that made me laugh. That made me laugh so hard. It was so good. But
Ty Conti seems like the kind of person I'd like to hang out with and just tell puns all day.
She seems like such a cool person to hang out with. Though.
Yeah.
She seems so down to earth, like such a sweetheart.
I don't have a crush on Ty Conti. You have a crush.
Nah. I mean, yeah, it's just like nobody has a crush on Ty Conti, but
I'm sure a lot of people do, but that's beside the point.
No, outside the point. But yeah, so Britt Baker basically goes for the lockjaw. Ty Conti rolls out of it, and then Baker actually catches her in an inside cradle and actually gets the pinfall there. And they got 15 minutes out of it. It was a 3.5-star match. I thought it was very good wrestling for the most part. Ty's selling was great. Every single kick out that Britt Baker had. Conti has the best facials. Like, she was so stunned and flabbergasted every time Baker kicked out. Golden. She got those fundamentals down.
I'm going to give it 3.25. It was a fun match for what it was. Nothing too, like, it was not better than like Baker Soho. It was not better than I don't want to say it was the weakest title defense, but it's another notch in Baker's belt, and it was a good outing for Conti.
Yes.
Looking forward, considering that most of the women are distracted with the TBS title right now. Who's going to step up and face Britt Baker next? It's going to be really cool to see.
That's my big thing. I'm not sure who's.
It's
going to be Thunder Rosa. Who? Oh, Anna Jay.
Anna
Be the one to take it from her? Oh.
No, not the one to take it from her, but I want her to be the next challenger.
Okay, yeah, maybe for like
I'm an Anna Jay stan, so I want to see her succeed.
That's fine. I'm not an Anna Jay stan. You're an Anna Jay stan.
We stan Anna Jay on this channel, okay?
Yeah, not like nobody has a crush on Anna Jay or anything like that, because Jungle Jack will hunt you down if you do. But anyway, so but I definitely think it's going to be Thunder Rosa taking the title off of the Doctor there. This was definitely a better match than Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose at Fight for the Fallen, for example. It was definitely it's not a better match than Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Definitely better than Britt Baker versus Red Velvet, who I still have no fucking clue who Red Velvet is. But in that case,
someone doesn't watch Dark Elevation.
I don't. Starring the large performance. Yeah, no, I don't have time to watch Dark Elevation. But okay, speaking of matches I did want to make time to watch for sure. This is a match 16 years in the making, absolutely personal. CM Punk one-on-one with Eddie Kingston, and the crowd was fucking hyped for this. The crowd was chanting both these guys all over the place. The crowd in Minneapolis loves them.
Anticipated match of the night. It was crazy.
Over Omega versus Hangman Page, 2 years in the making for the world title. Like, think about that for a moment, viewers.
My first issue with this match, this was the shortest match on the show.
It sure was, but you know what?
11 minutes to the dot.
CM Punk and Eddie Kingston made the most out of those 11 minutes by kicking the fucking snot out of each other. CM Punk in his fight shorts, which was a really nice, unique look for him. I know he was talking about, like, on his infamous podcast where he dropped the nuke on WWE. He was talking about possibly debuting with fight shorts, or re-merging with fight shorts, rather. And he busts out the fight shorts because this is going to be a fight against Eddie Kingston. He doesn't stop on the ramp.
This was not a wrestling match. This was a fist fight.
It was a fist fight, and it was a match between two guys that hated each other's guts. And there was a point
the minute the bell rings, Eddie Kingston just fucking clocks CM Punk in the jaw with
a back fist. With a back fist, and CM Punk was out. Eddie Kingston was like, "Yeah, I got you, motherfucker." And
gotcha,
Punk,
bitch.
Yeah, he caught him by surprise for sure. But yeah, Punk was blading everywhere. These two are fighting all over the ring, and it's freaking great. Eddie Kingston does a GTS taunt and an obscene hand gesture. There were a lot of fingers like this one that were shown in this match.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what the deal is with this finger, but those two must really like it.
It tends to make everybody mad. It tends to make a lot of people mad.
It tends to make a lot of people mad. I wonder why Stone Cold was using it a lot back in the day. But speaking of like Speaking of stealing finishers, are you ready for one of my favorite spots on the night? CM Punk was going, for some similar 5 moves of doom, and then he puts his hand up, and I'm like, is fucking CM Punk gonna hit the 5-knuckle shuffle on an AEW program? Is he gonna fucking do this? And like, as soon as I think he's going down for the "you can't see me," he busts another one of those out, and Eddie Kingston sits up. He's like, "Hit me again, motherfucker!" And like, these two guys freaking despised each other. And then there was a point where the crowd also started booing CM Punk because I hate saying
Eddie was hot tonight. He was white fucking hot tonight.
And Eddie Kingston's promos on Rampage, which were fire promos. And if you missed those promos during the build, some class A stuff right there. But Eddie Kingston, like, he was delivering these promos about Punk, and they were like, holy shit, we love Punk, but Eddie's right. He's right. Like, he's not lying. As Tomas would say, where is the lie? There's no
lie whatsoever. And yeah, Kingston ascended to stardom tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He ascended to stardom tonight. And that's my biggest problem with the match. The wrong person won.
Yep.
I'm going to say it. The wrong person won.
Because Punk hit the GTS, one go to sleep later, and Punk wins LOL. Am I right?
I get it. CM Punk is back. I get it. You guys missed him. I get it. He was gone for 7 years. I get it. He left on very controversial terms. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. That does not mean he has to win every single match right now. This was the match. No, I don't want to say the match. This was a match. He didn't need to win. Yeah. Kingston was white fucking hot. He was clearly the most over man in the match. I think the crowd would have popped. The roof would have came off the building if Eddie would have got the pin.
Would have been crazy. It's honestly like, I read an interview, or not read an interview. I watched one with Tony Khan on the media scrum after the show went off the air, and he actually likened Punk versus Kingston to Hogan versus Rock from Mania 18, which we have talked about on this podcast before. And it was mainly because Tony Khan was actually in attendance at the Sky Dome that night in 2002. But he was like, he vividly recalls his friend that he was with was one of those people cheering for Hogan. Tony Khan basically was telling the world that he was the only person cheering for The Rock that night. And his friend was like, wait, why are you doing that? And Khan was kind of joking, well, someone has to. Someone has to. And, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with Tony Khan on this one. Yeah, The Rock is the man. But
I don't want to say that the crowd turned on Punk, but they were clearly on Kingston's side tonight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. And then Punk goes for a handshake. Kingston wants none of it this time. And it's very, very different from Rock and Hogan in that respect, which ended with a handshake. Spoiler alert for those of you who have never seen it, like the two of you who haven't. But yeah, Kingston walks away from the handshake, and Punk is like, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. It was worth a shot. And then Kingston made him look like a total buffoon in that regard. But you know what, Tomas? I'm going to give this 4 stars. I was so entertained by this. It was so fun from start to finish, from bell to bell. Great.
I'm going to be on the more positive side. I'll give it 3 3/4, but I wish it was longer and the wrong man won. Those are my only issues with the match.
Absolutely. But speaking of issues,
okay, believe it or not, I was really excited going into this match, but when the match started, what are we talking about? Minneapolis street fight sounds like the main event to a house show. We have the Inner Circle back together once again, full-blown baby faces. They're done doing whatever it is they were doing before, and they're going to take on America's top team, which is the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arvalski, and the fat-faced dipshit himself, Dan Lambert.
Dipshit alert. Dipshit alert. But you guys remember how we were talking about, the Falls Count Anywhere match had no tags, so it was fun from the start. This is a match that had tags at the beginning. It was all organized. And then it descended into chaos, which makes
and then they were building this match on Dynamite every week, just like, oh, it's gonna be a bloodbath and we're gonna kill each other and this and this and this. Like, then why are we wrestling for the first 10 minutes?
Freaking the false count anywhere match made this look like child's play.
It really did.
Like,
let's get into the.
I was like, why the fuck are these idiots tagging in and out? And like, I was ahead of the show. I was ahead of Tomas and watching this pay-per-view, for those of you wondering. And I texted him and I was like, dude, you're going to hate this street fight. And then once he gets to it, he's like, I see why. Because these fucking imbeciles are tagging in and out in a match with no disqualifications. Come on. It's not that hard.
Especially this match is built for chaos. And the only way I can defend it is just them saying like, oh, well, we got to make sure Dan Lambert doesn't get his ass kicked right away. And I guess this is the only way they can hide them. But I don't know, it made everyone look stupid in result.
It made me feel stupid.
Let me get some positives out of the... Yeah, let me get some positives out of the way. The UFC guys actually held their own really well in this match. At least Junior Dos Santos did.
Junior Dos Santos missed a few cues here and there, which were absolutely vital, and I can't like really give the match a pass for that. But I mean, at least they were on Jake Hager's level of competence, you know.
Also, I like Junior Dos Santos because shout out to freaking Tony Schiavone. So Dos Santos hits a suplex, and Schiavone says, "Oh, Dos Santos graduated from the school of suplex, UC Davis." I'm like, no fucking way. I marked out hard for that. I rewound it like 2 or 3 times. Like, did he? Yes, he did. Junior Dos Santos representing UCD. That's so fucking cool.
Well, in that respect, yeah, no, he's cool. But in that case, I mean, and then there all these weapons on the outside. Excalibur was basically explaining, like, you know, why these were the weapons. Like, they were invented in the state of Minnesota. Like, you have a hockey stick, you have a toaster, you have a water ski, and I'm like, how do Excalibur?
So weird.
How do Excalibur?
Cake pan.
Yes, my great grandmother's bunt cake recipe was a big, you know, was a big weapon.
Big in Minnesota.
But, yeah, it was invented in Minnesota. Yeah, but I was just thinking, God damn, I would be totally JR in this situation. How in the blue hell do Excalibur and Tony Schiavone know all this trivia about Minneapolis history? You know, like
unless they got with the inner circle beforehand, and they were just like, this was invented here. This was. I honestly did not hear that part, so that is so freaking weird.
Yeah, and Chris Jericho pulls a Prince sign out from under the ring because Prince was born in Minnesota. There was a brief Purple Rain chant because of that, which, you know, is a good reason to chant Purple Rain right now and not Velveteen Dream. But I
was going to say, what if Velveteen Dream made his debut tonight?
No, Tony Khan is smarter than that, but anyway. So yeah, they're throwing toasters at each other. Jake Hager is breaking up the pin with the toaster, which is the most useful thing he's done all year. But in any case, I'm sorry, guys. I don't like Jake Hager. Sue me. I don't think he's that charismatic. I don't think he's good.
That's very fair. If you want to laugh at him a little more, his real name is Donald Jacob Hager Jr.
Donald. But in any case, there is a speaking of Jake Hager, his wife is at ringside, and all ego Ethan Page, who I swear him and MJF could be doppelgangers at this point. They are just so similar in how they, like, you know, approach being a heel in the business, except Ethan Page maybe to a lesser extent, like, you know, he doesn't, like, you know, go for the risque stuff like MJF does, but he basically is asking Jake Hager's wife at ringside if she's enjoying what she's seeing. And sitting next to her is wrestling legend Baron von Raschke, the master of the Iron Claw. And I specifically remember that name from playing the Acclaim Legends of Wrestling games growing up when I was a kid. And I was like, this guy is a nice little finisher, and he's a German and imposing. So, you know, why not? Why not use this character? But he comes in and he locks in the Iron Claw on All Ego, who sells it like it's a freaking, like, bear trap in there.
He does, yeah.
So great.
Like, I get paying respects to the legends, but it's crazy how these 25-year-old, 26-year-old wrestlers will sell finishers from legends, like, that can't defend themselves.
Right.
Like,
But
I get paying respect to your elders, but
yeah, but
if
basically,
an 87-year-old man is grabbing my forehead, I think I'm going to break his wrist.
something like that. But
Yeah.
it does come down. The big story of the match, the big crux is the rivalry between Chris Jericho and Dan Lambert, the manager of American Top Team, who everybody was saying was going to pin Chris Jericho on this night. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. Jericho locks in the walls of Jericho. Junior Dos Santos, I think this is where he
Before
misses
that happens,
cue.
though, I see what you mean. Jericho goes for the lion saw, and Jericho sits on those ropes for a good 3 seconds.
Yep.
Before
That
he
was the
gets
cue.
clocked by
That was
Dos
the cue.
Santos.
Yep. Dos Santos missed his cue, and he was like, "Hey, come grab me!" And like, I heard Jericho call the spot, and I was like, "Yeah, these UFC guys are not ready for the prime time."
Yeah, and
a little bit more time.
that brings. Okay, because like we said before, Dan Lambert, this isn't his first time in pro wrestling. He brought American Top Team to feud with Lashley and Moose in Impact Wrestling. And I'm going to say this now. Every single UFC fighter wants to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah. Ronda Rousey, Daniel Cormier. Ken Shamrock, Daniel Cormier has wanted to be a professional wrestler. Shout out to Daniel Cormier, by the way, who's close to where I'm from. Brock Lesnar. Oh, wait, no, Brock Lesnar.
Dos Santos here, you can tell he really wants to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, but I mean, more power to him, but he just was not ready on this night. But,
no.
I mean, Jericho pulled him through it, and he's hitting Dos Santos with some receipts there with the kendo 6 shots. Then Jericho has been wrestling this whole match with a stapler in the pockets of his cargo pants. I don't know how he doesn't tear his knee there, but he pulls out the stapler and he freaking lightly taps Dan Lambert in the nether regions with the stapler. I knew there wasn't a stapler that went in there because otherwise Lambert would have been going to the hospital at that point. So, in that sense, it was cool enough, I guess. And then Jericho basically does the Eddie Guerrero shake, and he actually pins Dan Lambert with a frog splash, which was a very welcome and pleasant surprise. Jericho had tears in his eyes as he was pinning Dan Lambert, and then he looks up to the skies. He's like, "I love you, man." Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Excellent.
Just because of that ending, I'm going to bump this match up to 2 3/4 just because that first part of the match was so atrociously incoherent. Why the fuck do you need tags in a street fight?
Yeah, I think I'll match with 2 3/4. This match really didn't do it for me after thinking a while. We forgot to bring up Sammy Guevara's beautiful swanton bomb off the ladder. Which
oh my god!
Match.
I'm such an idiot. Yes. Okay.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I just remembered it too. That was the best spot of the match.
It was. Yeah, and I'm sure Jeff Hardy was smiling somewhere seeing that from Sammy.
Oh yeah. Props to Lambert for taking the bumps, but at the same time, he just reminded me of Paul Heyman in 2013, wearing the tracksuit, which probably had padding underneath it. But okay, this is not a hot take. I'm sure I'm in the same boat with everyone when I say I hope this is a one and done. I don't want to see this rivalry go any further.
No.
Lambert got the rub. The UFC guys got the rub. Men of the Year got the rub. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Have the Men of the Year challenge the Lucha Bros. That'll be a fun match.
New feud. Yeah, absolutely. Men of the Year versus the Lucha Bros. Yeah, that'll be a fun tag team title match down the road. But
American Top Team could go back to doing whatever they were doing in the MMA world. Again, they got the rub, just like they got the rub in Impact Wrestling. But I think AEW did a better job of it. Don't ever go back and watch that atrocious tag team cage match they did with Lashley and Moose and Rampage. Don't watch it. Don't fucking watch it.
So bad. Yeah, but I mean, then again, what can Impact do right lately? But anyway, speaking of old Impact wrestlers, there was a very welcome surprise announcement, Tomas, with Tony Schiavone coming on stage, and he basically says that the forbidden door has been kicked open, and who steps through it?
Jay Lethal. Unfortunately, Ring of Honor is going through some very harsh times right now. So they are basically taking a sabbatical. They say they're going to revamp everything, and they're just going to take a break until, let's hope it's just a break, until April of 2022. With that being said, unfortunately, they released the entire roster. All the contracts were cut. So all of the wrestlers are free to go wherever they want. 3 years ago, I would have said Jay Lethal needs to go to NXT. But good old Vince McMahon does not want to hire independent wrestlers anymore.
Because he's a dumbass.
WWE's
dumbass.
loss is AEW's gain.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Jay Lethal is one of the most underrated wrestlers on the planet. I think he's an absolute treasure. He comes out on stage and he actually cuts, like, his entrance music is like the Black Machismo entrance music. It's like a revamped Pomp and Circumstance. And I'm like, okay.
It was so fucking nice to hear.
It's not the House of Truth theme that he had while he was the ROH World Champion. But, I mean,
another great theme. Oh, my God.
I'm
going to go back and watch some. I'm gonna go back and watch some 2015 Jay Lethal matches.
Yeah,
now.
you want a hidden gem? How about Jay Lethal versus Noam Dar for the ROH World Title at What Culture Pro Wrestling? That's a great match right there. It's on YouTube somewhere. Go look.
Shit, you want a hidden gem? Go watch Jay Lethal versus Kurt Angle for the X Division title at Destination X 2008.
Oh my God, yes! Jay Lethal and Kurt Angle had such good chemistry. Jay Lethal is a hidden gem if I ever saw one, and AEW I think struck dynamite with this, no pun intended. But he basically says the forbidden door has been opened up. And he's heard of a little open challenge for the TNT title, and basically him and Sammy Guevara are wrestling for the TNT Championship this Wednesday on Dynamite. Call me crazy, Jay Lethal's got to win the belt there. Jay
Lethal is not a guy you can make look good in defeat. He needs to win.
Yeah,
he needs to fucking win.
I love Sammy Guevara. God bless his heart. He's a great babyface, but Jay Lethal has to win this match on Wednesday. He absolutely has to. And he's got to hold that TNT championship for a long time. If not matching his Ring of Honor reign, but you got to show the world who Jay Lethal is to everybody who's
he's not here to fuck around.
No, like for those of people who are not aware of what Jay Lethal is all about, watch him on Wednesday against Sammy Guevara, because I know that's going to be a banger of a match for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And like I'm confident he's going to win, but I'm not fully convinced.
Hot take. Lethal is right up there with Danielson and Adam Cole and CM Punk when it comes to signees. Don't sleep on this guy. Don't fucking sleep on this guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely not. He's a fucking star. He is a hidden gem. Once again, great signing by AEW. He's your next TNT champion, my friends. Has to be. But speaking of championships, here we fucking are at the main event, 2 years in the making. Kenny Omega defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship with an injured shoulder, as I read about, which is even more fascinating. But his challenger is, of course, Hangman Adam Page, who comes out to a grand reception. His freaking, the little vignette that aired beforehand was actually taped late at night before Full Gear, right outside the Target Center, and it was like a scene right out of The Walking Dead. He's walking down the street over by the Target Center, and it's all abandoned. It's late at night, but it's showing all of Hangman's past failures as he makes his way over to the arena on horseback. And I'm like, there's no way this fucker doesn't win this match with this entrance.
Yep. It shows him losing the inaugural AEW World Title match to Chris Jericho after he said he was going to win the World Title. And in a great, nice little touch, the Dark Order is sprinting like a bunch of kids that just heard the ice cream truck. They're on their way to support their boy Hangman Page. I was ready. When I saw that little vignette, I was ready. I was ready for this match.
Yeah, and oh boy, howdy, what a match it was. This was my match of the night, thinking about it more and more. These two guys know each other so well, and it's a match that's been built up. It was very physical. These two guys were hitting each other with everything they possibly could. I mean, again, with fucking Hangman, or not Hangman's, Omega's shoulder and the shape that it was in, the fact that the match was this good.
And knowing that now makes it even better. And one of my favorite spots of the match, Kenny Omega teases stealing the buckshot lariat. He's setting up. And he says, fuck you guys. And he just goes through the ropes and he hits Page with a clothesline. Yep.
It was absolutely insane. Omega hits so many Snapdragon suplexes and V-triggers. Again, not even funny how, common those moves are in his repertoire. But there's a Tiger Driver 98, and there's a kick out. Hangman Adam Page is getting so many chants from people. Don Callis is trying to interfere at every possible turn. And the crowd is chanting "fuck you, Callis" at this, which is a fantastic chant. Everybody should chant that. But it basically gets to a point where Page hits a pop-up power bomb, and somewhere Kevin Owens is smiling before he signs with the promotion in a few months. But did I spoil things, guys? Kevin Owens might be coming over, but
I don't know, man. That heel turn might keep him in WWE.
That heel turn might keep him in, but you never know. But it's just a guess on my part. But this was
who am I fucking kidding? He's out of there next year.
So this match was freaking 25 minutes of sheer brilliance. There was a point where basically it gets to the stage towards the end where Hangman goes for the buckshot, and Omega pulls the referee into the frame, and freaking Hangman takes his head off with a clothesline. The referee, he's out for the count, figuratively. Don Callis comes in with the world title, and Hangman basically beats the crap out of him. Omega goes for the belt, and Hangman thinks better of it. He somehow hits a one-winged angel on Omega, which is an excellent...
then Aubrey Edwards. Yeah, Aubrey Edwards sprints her way to the ring to make this count. It was almost as good as Charles Robinson at WrestleMania 24.
Almost. She didn't have the distance there. She did not have the distance, but it was brought back some memories for sure. But the crowd was chanting for Aubrey, even though there was a point where her hand clearly hit the ground for 3. There was not a "you fucked up" chant at the ref, but I mean, the crowd was chanting "ref, you suck" earlier in the match when he wasn't catching Don Callis's antics on the outside when he was kicking Hangman down there. But Aubrey gets, all the praise in the world for sure. And she deserves it, deservedly so. But it gets basically Omega goes for his one-winged angel, doesn't get it. Adam Page hits a buckshot lariat, number 1. Then we get the Young Bucks, and then another dipshit alert line from Tony Schiavone. And they're basically, he thinks they're coming out to...
Before we get to that, I'm surprised you're not bringing up a spot in the match I thought you would have marked out for.
What's that?
Hangman Adam Page stealing the one-winged angel.
I did mention that. I did.
Your
I loved
favorite
it.
trope was in this match.
I loved it. Stealing finishers. More. I want more. Just give it to me.
And of course, Omega can kick out of his own finisher, but nobody else can.
Yeah. So clearly, in AEW's canon, technically, Kenny Omega is the first person to kick out of the one-winged angel. Think about that.
Of course he is.
Of course.
Of course he is.
He had to get that in before he takes some time off to recuperate from a torn shoulder. But in that case, the Young Bucks come out, and they're basically out there. Both Bucks take either side of the ring, basically. Hangman gets on the apron, hits a buckshot lariat 1 after looking at Nick, and then he thinks better of it, goes for another one on Kenny, and then Matt looks at him, nods, and Shivani was like, what the fuck was that?
Ooh.
Hangman hits a buckshot lariat as hard as he fucking can, and Hangman Adam Page is your brand new World Heavyweight Champion. Everybody goes insane. Deservedly so. I think we called it from the beginning that it was going to be Hangman that takes the title off of Omega. But give the man credit where it's due. As much as he may have annoyed us with his heel antics, over almost a full year for Kenny Omega at the top of the food chain here in this promotion. And he did some stellar work opening up the forbidden door, going over to Impact, going over to New Japan, AAA. Yeah, he was holding all the gold at one point, a Double or Nothing. So, give the man credit where it's due, but it was time for the Hangman era. So well deserved. He was in
and before we switch gears to Hangman Adam Page, real one quick about Omega. You said take some time off. I think this is the perfect opportunity for Omega to take time off, because I think this is passing the proverbial ball over to Page and say, hey man, I'm going to take some time off. You've earned this. You take this ball and you run with it. And Page is going to run with it.
Oh, he absolutely is. And I don't think this is going to be the only match that they have together. Because this was a 5-star match. I really freaking loved it. It was a fantastic story, all about Hangman's ascension to the top. It was all about his failures. There were so many excellent callbacks, and Kenny Omega was the perfect final boss for him. And look at his attire even. Kenny Omega looked like a final boss fight in this. So one of my favorite AEW matches all year, probably only behind the Omega Danielson match at Grand Slam. and the cage match at All Out. But phenomenal stuff. Absolutely.
This was an excellent match. I'll give it 4.5 stars. It was a beautiful story told. We had a little debate after the match saying who had the rivalry of the year, Page and Omega or Seth Rollins and Edge. This was Page and Omega was just excellently booked from start to finish, and I can't believe they started this almost 2 years ago with them winning the tag team titles, having them have their little fallout on the Jericho cruise, and then Page basically saying, you know what? I don't want to hang out with you guys anymore. I see where this is going, and I don't like it. All the way till, and then this got me choked up a little, all the way back to Page, you know, not wanting to be with anybody, and then the Dark Order coming in saying, hey, we really like you. We want to have your back. We know that you're a loner, but please, like, you know, we really like you. We like hanging out with you. And when, you know, from the Dark Order all the way until him not getting the title shot, to him winning the Casino Battle Royale, ladder match, all the way until this moment right here. And then when the Dark Order came out and Shivani said, maybe Hangman Page will finally embrace the Dark Order. That got me choked up a little.
And he did.
I thought that was really
cool. That's exactly what he did. And that's an ending, honestly, that final image reminded me a lot of WrestleMania 10 when Bret Hart won the WWF title in the main event and the whole babyface locker room came out to celebrate with him. And then you had Owen Hart come out who had beaten him in the first match. You know, he comes out and he stares down his brother. It was great, you know, because he also had the Young Bucks out there and they were kind of, it was almost like it was given like Hangman a nod of approval. Matt was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of like Matt was like, you know what? I know how I've been this past few months with the Elite, but Kenny Omega needs to be taken down. And, you know, it's like, he was like telling him, pull that trigger, cowboy.
Like, did we see a reverse Austin X7 finish here? Like, that's what it felt like, you know, because the baby faces come out to help the baby faces now, you know? So it was a perfect way to end this show. Put Hangman at the top of the mountain. Now we're getting Hangman versus Danielson at some point soon, which should be a very interesting. Cool. It should be a very interesting babyface versus babyface match.
Oh, yeah.
And like, honestly, thinking about it, Danielson will gladly put anybody over on the roster.
Oh, yeah.
Hangman Adam Page, I'm gonna look this up while we do this, but Danielson, honestly, like in his final days in WWE, he was putting everybody over. He was putting Ricochet over. He was putting over Cesaro, but Hangman Page,
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yep. But he'll have no problem putting Hangman Page over. And this is a guy who is just starting in his prime. Hangman Adam Page is only 30 years old on the dot.
He's got a lot of gas left in the tank.
A long way to go. And especially those of you who watch WWE, wrestlers have lots left in the tank, even after hitting 30. So,
oh, yeah. Also, I officially declare this the cowboy shit era, and I am ready to go.
Cowboy shit! Oh, I had to get that out.
Adam Page was interviewed after the show, and his first declaration this Wednesday on Dynamite, November 17th, 2021, is national. He is officially christened it National Cowboy Shit Day, and they're going to celebrate it on Dynamite. I can't wait.
It's gonna be
he said that he's going to defend the title against anybody and everybody, but please don't make it fight Wardlow and his big muscle tits again. He does not want to fight Wardlow again. It's cool. Look it up. It's hilarious. The bullet points from his interview are fucking hilarious.
Hangman's a funny guy, and he just seems so humble and down to earth, too. Like, you know, and that's what came off in the promo package, even. He's like, I know a lot of people don't think I can beat Kenny Omega. I know I can. You know, he comes off like such an earnest cowboy, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's
hey, remember when he returned to the Casino Battle Royale match, his nameplate said Hangman Adam Page finally decided to show up for work.
and the graphic on Full Gear, quote unquote, we're proud of you, the graphics team.
Love it.
So awesome. So happy for Hangman. Can't wait to see what's next for him. Full Gear gets a 9 out of 10. I'm being totally honest. This was a phenomenal wrestling show from top to bottom, except for a couple of hiccups here and there with the tag match in the middle being, you know, subpar, and the Minneapolis street fight starting off less than ideal. I had a ton of fun watching this. I mean, Miro and Danielson had one of the most physical matches I've seen all year long. Punk and Kingston had a match that was just as physical, if not more personal, than Miro and Danielson. Obviously, it would have been more personal because that was just a tournament match. But I mean, yeah. And do you have Hangman ending things on a happy note, finally winning the world title, realizing his destiny? It's a great show. If you haven't seen it, yeah, everybody go watch it for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. There was the good definitely outweighed the bad on this pay per view. I love the opener. I love Danielson Miro despite not agreeing with the winner. I love the false count anywhere match. That was a fun surprise. I liked Punk Eddie despite. I think I disagree more with Eddie not winning over Miro not winning. If I'm being perfectly honest, the Minnesota Street Fight was not as good as I thought it was going to be, and that's a shame. And the main event was excellent. So, of course, there's never going to be a perfect pay-per-view, but the good definitely outweighed the bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, WrestleMania X7 is kind of a perfect pay-per-view in my book, but I mean, that was another topic for another time. And you guys can check out that pod and much, much more on the channel as well. Tomas and I have a lot more to come for you guys. Actually, later on this week, we're actually going to be recording it tomorrow, but expect a retro review to get us ready for the Survivor Series is the topic we've been wanting to talk about for a long time. We're going to take you back to 1998 and look at the Survivor Series of that year, which was headlined by a tournament, basically, a one-night tournament for the WWF title. It's going to be a lot of fun to look back on, as is going to be the case for this year's Survivor Series, which Tomas has called the least hyped Survivor Series of all time.
They threw some champions versus champion matches together. They have not interacted once. The pay-per-views on Sunday. Good lordy, at least we're getting Big E versus Roman Reigns.
yeah. It should be an interesting show to look at. And I'm excited to look back on these shows with you guys and much, much more. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers and counting over here. Of course, I also talk about all things cinema over here. Hit that thumbs up as well if you enjoyed these debates that we got into. If you made it this far, thank you so very much. But guys, lots more to come up. See you guys for the next one. Stay tuned.